Hey, it's been a minute. I hope you're doing okay. If you thought I finally crashed out and quit making videos, turns out this is still cheaper than therapy. Honestly, I'm still in denial that 2024 is over because I don't feel like I accomplished much at all. Whether you relate or you're just here for the ride, I hope this little emotional dump at least tells you that you are doing just fine. And please excuse my nasally voice because, of course, I fell sick in the new year. A year ago, I celebrated a lot of firsts. My first work anniversary, first year in New York City, the first time I felt like I was finally in charge of my life. Gone were the days of classes, job hunting, and the endless resume padding that was college. God had given me exactly what I'd begged for: a job. To be exact, a prestigious job that gave me stability, security, and money to cry in a glorified shoebox. And for the first time in my life, I could do something other than a two-step at bars. New York's amazing community of shufflers taught me everything I know. Show up every day, keep an open mind, remember to have fun. I struggle the most with that last part. Maybe it's a side effect of growing up in Singapore, but the times I feel joy usually come hand in hand with success. Especially this past year as I was learning to freestyle, that mindset was so frustrating because you can't learn without looking stupid first. And the better I got, the harder it's been for me to be okay with that. Like many other overachievers in their quarter-life crisis, I was also introduced to bouldering. Learning to get good at something else took my mind off the shuffle plateau, and boy was I terrible. The heaviest thing I've lifted in my life is probably an IKEA chair, and suddenly there I was, hauling my entire body weight onto a plastic rock, which in some cases my life depended on. The real treasure of this whole side quest, if I may add, was the friends I made along the way. We climbed every Friday, and by climb I mean yell at each other to
Stand up
on the wall for 5 minutes, and then yap for the next 30. But that was exactly why I looked forward to it every week.
I can't believe you're leaving.
You are too.
Oh yeah.
I wish I could wrap up here with a nice life lesson about the joys of being open to new friends and experiences, but I'd be lying to you. That summer, I left it all behind and moved to the Midwest. I still don't really know what to say when people ask why I moved from New York to Chicago. Sure, it's affordable. The summers are gorgeous. I love deep dish pizza. Just kidding, I don't. Here's reason number one. My partner was accepted to an MBA program here. As someone who thinks so much about charting her own path and being her own person, I feel almost embarrassed to admit that this huge life upheaval was not something that I decided. Like, I chose to hit pause on my own journey to be a supporting character in someone else's. I did find friends in other joint ventures, as we're called, who've also packed up their lives to support their significant others. I'm proud to say that we're pretty good about the Bechdel test whenever we hang out. It's not lost on me that most of us are women, and I can't help thinking about how we're often the ones who have to adapt and make room for someone else's ambitions. How do you hold on to your own dreams while playing a supporting role? How do you not lose yourself in the process? On that front, I'm really thankful for the shuffle community in Chicago. They were the first friends I made here, and being with them almost feels like I'm back home in New York. I say almost because the crew here loves techno and battling, which is a little more intense than the flow meetups I went to in New York. We also don't meet as much because everyone's kind of spread out across the Chicagoland area, but they remind me that you can still find pieces of yourself in a new city. Even though Chicago wasn't part of my plan, it did take me to places I least expected, like Willowbrook, Illinois. This was one of the first shuffle meetups I came to after moving, and I was just thankful to find the same warmth and kinship that I missed from the New York community. Chicago is also where I took part in my first ever shuffle battle. How it went? I couldn't tell you because I blanked out the second I got into the ring. I refused to watch my entire round to this day, but prepping for it pushed me way out of my comfort zone and taught me that you can grow a lot from just saying yes and letting your future self deal with the consequences. As for climbing, that kind of fizzled out after my various amateur injuries and without my friends in New York. But the Chicago Flow community introduced me to the Flow Star, and so learning to spin this giant hanky has become my new obsession. I was starting to feel uninspired in my shuffling, and surprisingly, picking up the Flow Star got me excited about it again. Maybe the secret to getting over a plateau might just be to learn something new, to tickle the part of your brain that gets excited about being a beginner again. If you asked about my 2024 before I started this video, I probably would have said something like, I was fighting for my life at work. All I remember was feeling so annoyed at myself for attaching my self-worth to work, not being good enough outside of work, saying yes to leaving the life I'd built in New York. I am endlessly self-critical to the point that it scares me to look into the past. I'm honestly surprised at how much other stuff came up in retrospect, and I guess how easy it is to overlook your growth. Does it make me any less anxious about the future? God, no. Life is like one long psychological thriller that you can't even Google the jump scares for. A lot of days I feel like this dog, smiling my way to some inevitable doom. But maybe he's onto something. Maybe this is fine, and if we've made it through 24 years in this dumpster truck fire, we might just get through this one too. If the past year has taught me anything, it's that this year, like every year, is going to be different, but it'll be okay. So I really hope you're taking care. Thank you as always for indulging me, and I'll catch you in the next crash out.
Yeah, now.
No, I don't know what to do.
No, you do, no! Dean!